Hi everyone, so today we'll do a stock analysis on PBF Energy, ticker PBF, and it's a petroleum refining and logistics company. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor and I'm just doing my own little research. Up to you to make your own decision. So as usual, we will look at the company profile first, then we'll do fundamental analysis, technical analysis, then we look at oil prices for this company as a price catalyst, and then we'll end up with a conclusion. So let's first start with like a little history on PBF Energy. So it was formed in 2008 as a joint venture by Petroplus Holdings and the private equity company Blackstone Group and First Reserve, and then they both actually committed 667 million of equity, and then like PBF stands for Petroplus, Blackstone and First Reserve. So just as a little summary, they are one of the largest independent petroleum refiner and supplier of unbranded transportation fuel, heating oil, petrochemical, feedstock, lubricant and other petroleum product in the United States. We will run through that a bit more after. So it's interesting because it seems to be that their oil refineries is not branded, so it's just like normal, and then they sell like basically in US or northern Midwest Gulf Coast and West Coast, and then as well in Canada, Mexico, and then they ship their products around the world. Then so there's like two main segments, so refining and logistics. So refining is like pretty much like converting the crude oil into some different thing. We go through it after. And then logistics is basically delivering and then like moving the oil or gas that they have converted. So let's get started with just what is oil refinery. I mean, like personally, I'm not too aware of it, so I wanted to get through it a bit more to understand fully. So it's it's an industrial process plant where petroleum crude oil is transformed and refined into products such as gasoline, diesel, fuel, alpha, and so on. So you see like on the right there is a schema, and then you can see that the crude oil goes from there, and then after they heat it at different degrees, that's what I understand, and then from that they create different products there depending on the heat between the different rooms. So that's all I know. I don't want to go further than that, but at least you get an idea of what it is and what the company does. So first of all, I wanted to show what like crude oil looks like. So it looks like something pretty dark and opaque, and then like what it creates after those heating. So there's liquefied gasoline, kerosene, diesel fuel, motor oil, asphalt, and then sulfur. So you can see what percentage you can get on each of them. So this is not for this company, it's just like to explain what usually they create out of a crude oil. That's it. So here is a list of all the refineries that they have. So there's like Delaware, Paulsboro, Toledo, New Orleans, Torrance, Martinez. So they're all in the United States, which makes it easy to explain. And then like if I understand that right, they all of them create 1 million barrel per day so of production. So yeah, I don't know more than that. I can't really compare with others, but just to give you an idea, and if you know a bit more, would be nice to explain. Thanks, but yeah, at least you know what they do. So just for the logistics, I wanted to show you guys that it basically has logistic assets associated with each refineries. So sometimes it's like they utilize vessels, pipelines, trucks, and rail to link it to their refineries with the supplier and the customers, and then it's cooperate as well with the U.S. government and the Department of Custom, Immigration, and Homeland Security. So one thing I wanted to add about their products, so is that they have like aviation jet fuels that meet like or even exceed more stringent requirement worldwide, and then like they cooperate with the government to make sure the quality is there, like the American Society of Testing and Materials. And I ran through that pretty quickly as well. So this is all the type of products that they create. So I did a summary. There's even more than that, but just to get an idea. And they're fairly similar to what I was showing in like most refineries. So I guess most of them actually produce similar things. But yeah, here they are. And you can look at their website as well on the products to get more details. But that's what it looks like. So here it shows all the director ownership. So look at how many shares they have. So overall, like I wouldn't say they have that much shares, but probably a few percent, something like 3 to 5% overall. And then the CEO has the most, which I think is logical. Still think it's a reasonable amount, something like maybe $25 to $30 million for the CEO. Out of the company size, I think it's reasonable. They have incentive to do well. And one other thing that I thought was interesting is that Control Empresarial de Capitales, ESA, bought like a lot of shares recently, like around 300 million, and then they started buying from 40 and then still continue at like 30 and even lower. So that sounds like they see value for sure in this, and that's always nice to see. So somehow they put it as insider trading, but I struggle to know if it's really insider trading, but doesn't matter. It's still nice to see someone is buying heavily. They could even actually take over the company at some point. Who knows? I'm not sure, but they're really buying a lot. Company fundamentals, the usual with all these oil companies, market cap of 3 billion, the P of 5. So I'm not sure why the forward P is always higher. Not sure, but yeah, overall still reasonable. Price to book as usual less than 0.5. Even price to sell is low, and enterprise value revenue is low. And I don't know what happened just currently, but overall very cheap enterprise value to EBITDA. So in the fundamental analysis from Yahoo Finance, so financial highlights, we can see that the income statement is not really positive for this year, but the leverage and operating cash flow is positive. So I would say they're still making money and doing all right, but I'm guessing they do a bit less because of the oil price that is not as high as usual, but still like they're still making money, so it seems to be a good thing. They have like almost $1 billion cash for $2 billion of total debt, and like debt to equity is 34. I think it's reasonable, and yeah, book value cheap. And then so the insider at 26%, I'm not so sure about that, but I would say 5% could be reasonable to say. I couldn't see the exact 26%, but the institution, I noticed that there are a lot of institutions buying this stock, which could be a good thing. And it shorted quite a lot as well, 13%, but at the moment it's going down pretty much daily, so wouldn't be surprised. And giving sometimes some dividend too. So as you can see in here, they've been repaying the debt pretty well, so let me draw that. And so that's a good thing. So it shows that at least there's less debt with the company. And then like the free cash flow has been like negative in 2020, but it makes sense because it was the crisis and oil prices was even negative, and no one was using oil during that year. Well, I mean, they were using oil, but just like for a period of time less than usual. And then after that, like it was pretty like inconsistent, to be honest. But in 2022 they literally made the equivalent of their market cap, even more. And then like right now it's a bit low, but I would say still reasonable, as long as it stay around this amount, 300 million. So what I like to see usually is a total asset like increasing with pretty much liabilities somehow like staying stable or decreasing, which shows that the total equity keep rising. It went from 2 million to 6. That is a very good thing, to be honest. And then the thing that I didn't like as much is just that they issue a bit more shares. So in their 120 to 143, I don't think it's that bad considering they tripled their equity, but it's just a little bit. So if they can reduce it on top of that, would be the best. But the best part is just their total debt that went from 5 billion to 2. That's pretty significant. So looking at the chart, to be honest, nothing really much to explain, but just something to notice is the bottom of 2020. So that was definitely a good time to buy. Now it's easy to say afterward. But then the 2022 and 3, that was like good years. The stock went higher, but not significantly. But the good thing is it broke structure compared to this high. So I like that. And now it's retracing back. So kind of like at this price, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to around $20 or 19, 20. But yeah, honestly, I personally like a bit, but the problem is it's going downhill, so it could definitely go lower, and especially in the next few weeks. So let's see how it goes. So if you see the price of oil in there, it's pretty much following it, even though it's doing refineries, still following the price of crude oil with the bottom of 2020, pretty much that slow downhill from 2022, 2023, a little bit delayed, but pretty much the same. Right now, let's see what oil does. So at the moment, it doesn't look bullish for oil, but if oil does like that blue line that I was expected, that's good, but it didn't. So let's see, it might go back higher a little bit, maybe if inflation come back, but it could continue to go a bit lower. For now, it's really hard to know, honestly. Let's see what happens. So to conclude, I would say that the major thing is that the advantage is fairly cheap valuation. So most oil stock look like this, but yeah, it is quite cheap, that one. Then one company is buying a lot of shares, 300 million. I find that interesting because it's like 10% of the market cap around. And then reasonable insider holding, so there's like all the directors holding shares and pretty significantly enough to care. And then the risk, I would say, is the oil price going up or not. So if it goes down, it might actually follow as well, most likely. And if it's reverse, it might follow oil as well. But we don't know, so let's see how it goes. But at the moment, it doesn't look that bullish. Short term, it might a little bit for oil, but it's too early to tell. And then so it could be impacted as well because of crude oil. So because crude oil, they don't actually extract oil, so they could have expensive crude oil price, and then they can't actually sell their refined oil. I don't know if that could happen, but I wanted to show it there because this is definitely a risk. And then as well, technical analysis, downtrend, no signal for reversal, and same for oil. So I would say wait until it's clear for oil to reverse, and it might be interesting. All right, thank you guys, and see you for the next video.